Good morning again, everybody. This is Earl on Cars. This is Earl Live. You just heard our recorded introduction. And we're pretty much up to speed this morning. We've got Stu coming in. We got Rick to my right, Rick Kearney, the certified diagnostic master technician. Very impressive, and he is very impressive. He knows about everything there is to know mechanically, electronically, and I could throw in computerized about automobiles. Got Nancy Stewart, my co-host, and also the founder of the show with me many years ago, my wife, and the female advocate. So we're up to full speed here. Every show is getting more exciting to us. We have a new feature. If you haven't tuned in for a couple of weeks, we're going to have toward the end of the show, around 9:30, we're going to have the Big Dog Ranch Rescue Dog of the Week. Very special feature, and we will introduce a doggie that is needing a loving home, and we'll have the camera on him, and we'll describe him and ask you to help us find a home for the dog. So that'll be in the second half of the show. And of course, the major event, sometimes I forget to mention it because we do it every week, and we kind of take it for granted, which we shouldn't. Mystery shopping report. Something very unusual. Some people would say scary. Some people would say stupid. If you listen to the show and you listen to the mystery shopping report, you know what I'm talking about. We actually name the names of dealerships around the country. We sometimes go out of state. We're venturing pretty far. We're in Tampa. The latest mystery shopping report was a Subaru dealership in Tampa. So we're stretching out. Now we're in South Florida. We're in North Palm Beach, actually, Palm Beach County. And when we first started out, that was about it. But True Oldies has expanded radically. The True Oldie stations around South Florida, we're on most of them. So we're reaching way down to South Florida. And of course, our mystery shop, Agent Lightning, she wanders a lot. She wanders out of state sometimes, and wherever she is, she does a mystery shop. Very interesting. It tells you exactly what you are likely to expect if you go into this car dealership. And then we write it up, put it on our earloncars.com blog. You can check the archive, and you can get recommended car dealerships. These did better, these did worse. The ones that did worse, we say, don't buy a car there. And the ones that did better, we say, consider it, but still be careful. And the essence of the show, and I know you regular listeners hear me say this too often, and you already know our phone numbers and our text numbers and the rest of it, but a lot of folks are new. We're gaining more and more listeners. We're growing quite fast, and a lot of this is on streaming, Facebook and YouTube. YouTube is our big gun. And by the way, Rick Kearney is the pilot for the YouTube. He watches the monitor. He watches the YouTube posting. He sees what you say. And votes on the mystery shopper, we get more votes over YouTube than any place else. So youtube.com/Earl on Cars, facebook.com/Earl on Cars. And of course, you could just check us out in our archives on any podcast. We have podcasts of all the shows archived. A lot of ways to get to us. But we like the telephone, and I know that's old-fashioned, but we have some personalities out there that are really, really interesting and very informed. And the regular callers especially, but we like new callers. And Nancy, by the way, will explain why we especially like female new callers in a minute. But our call-in number is 877-960-9960, and I believe we do have a caller, so I'm going to shut up and turn the mic over to Nancy.
Yeah, thanks for repeating the telephone number to everyone, and just in case you didn't jot it down, it is 877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. Speaking of personalities, we have Howard calling in, and he is a regular caller, and he enjoys the show every Saturday. Welcome, Howard.
Hi, Howard. Hello, Howard. Are you there?
Good morning. I hope you're all doing well.
Yes.
That's great. The electric Ford Tesla, BMW, Volkswagen, and Mazda will remove the AM radio from new electric cars. Okay, now Toyota is not doing this. I believe it's because of interference. Can you explain why Toyota is not doing this and all the others are doing it?
Howard, that's a really hard question. It's a management decision. It's every manufacturer has to decide for themselves. A lot of people, a certain percentage of the market, don't even think about AM radio anymore now. It's still used for emergency notifications and emergency services, so there's the argument on the other side. It depends, I think, on the demographics of the auto manufacturer. If you have younger buyers, these younger buyers don't. A lot of them probably have never heard AM radio. They're streaming everything they want. By the way, if they want AM radio, they can stream it. So my guess would be, if you have an older group like Buick has older listeners, obviously the electric cars like Mercedes and Rolls-Royce have older listeners. They probably want to hang on. Toyota is kind of in the middle. They're not young, they're not old, but it becomes a study of what is going to help us sell more cars. Everything that an auto manufacturer does boils down to one thing. If we do this, are we going to sell more or less cars? Are we going to make more or less money? So that's the best answer I could give you. I know it's not a very specific one, but that's all I can tell you.
Okay, one other thing I read, that Toyota is developing an EV with a manual transmission. Now, I don't understand why everybody...
A simulated manual transmission.
What do you mean by simulated?
There's no actual gears. There's not going to be a transmission in it. It's an electric car, but to make it fun to drive, there will be a gear shifter and motor sounds and haptic feedback that makes it feel like you're shifting gears.
Oh, no clutch.
I don't know if there's a fake clutch in there, but
fake clutch.
But it's a fake manual transmission. They're doing it because, a lot of we hear a lot of calls like
Howard, you hear the squirrels out there on the highway. I know you do, like I do. When we pulled into the studio, there's some guy with his I would call them straight pipes or no mufflers. Probably not, but people. That's another reason why I think people have lower IQs by these cars. That's just my personal opinion, but they like to make a lot of noise, and it's annoying as can be.
It's the same. When they were kids, they were the ones that put the baseball cards in their spokes on their bike.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Rick, you look like you want to say something.
I'm just laughing at the whole idea of a manual transmission in an electric car. I guess I have finally grown up a little bit from my childhood days.
All right, let me ask you a quick question.
I would love the idea. I love the idea of an electric car that doesn't shift, that simply goes smooth, quick, and steady.
We're at the age where we just want things to be easy. When you're a little bit younger, that's not the main priority. It's fun as a priority. Hey, listen, we're around the same age. Did you play video games or anything like that?
Some, yes.
Like the racing games,
Howard,
they get really good.
Howard, when you were a kid, we have a caller on. Howard, when you were a kid, tell me the truth. Didn't you like to have a loud-sounding car and kind of go away from the stoplight and floor it, and everybody looks at you when they hear the noise?
I always had a loud-sounding car because I couldn't fix my muffler. I couldn't buy a new muffler, so I used to use the stuff from the auto stores. They used to put if you had a whole new muffler, you put this stuff on it. It would last about a month, and then it would make noise again.
Yeah.
So my cars are very noisy. But now I want to stump Rick. Rick, I had a car in 1950 that I didn't shift. Okay.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a clutch. What kind of a transmission was that?
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, Volkswagen had that. I remember.
I want to say that was one of the Chrysler Torque Flights, maybe, that had the push-button transmission for the automatic transmission.
Volkswagen had a shift on the floor, but no clutch.
Yeah. They had a couple of those, and God, what's the other one I'm thinking of?
I know what you're thinking of.
They had one of them that was like a 2-speed transmission.
It's a fluid drive.
Fluid drive. Who made it?
Fluid drive. No clutch, and you just shift it. And,
Who was the manufacturer?
It was Chrysler.
Chrysler.
1950.
Okay.
Wayfarer. Google it. Wayfarer Dodge 1950 fluid drive. No clutch. And it was slow as hell.
So did you have to take like back off the gas when you shifted, or you just like just shoved it in the gear?
I just on the brake, I put it in gear, and then there were 3 speeds.
So it was sort of like a stick shift that you manually shifted it, but it didn't have a clutch. You had a torque converter type device.
That was like the Volkswagen that Earl was talking about.
Yep.
For a little
That's
while, I
the-
drove a 1971 Super Beetle, and that
Yep.
was when you put pressure on the stick, it popped it in the neutral, allowed you to shift. That was the torque converter.
Yeah, kind of the missing link between the your automatic and your stick shift.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was
Howard.
called at that time. It was called the fluid drive.
The
If you
fluid
Google
drive.
fluid
I like
drive,
Yeah, great conversation, Howard. We appreciate your call. We appreciate you listening every week. One more thing from me. As far as Ford is concerned, did you hear where they reversed the decision to eliminate AM radios? Yeah, they're going to keep the AM radio in their vehicles. Anyway, just a little bit of information. Rick?
And one quick note here, Tom Steckel from YouTube, he says DeSoto Fire Dome had a fluid drive as well. Which DeSoto, I believe, actually came from Dodge. They split off as a faction from Dodge.
Is that right? Interesting information. Howard, thank you for calling.
And thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. I always say every week, we appreciate all of you. Without you, we wouldn't have a show, and you're very important to us, and we thank you for listening and watching every Saturday morning from 8 until 10 o'clock. Take advantage of the phone number, 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget, we're going to have Stevie coming in from Big Dog Ranch this morning, so you want to stay tuned for that just before the mystery shopping report. And also, let me get out this information for you ladies. You're very important to us, and you certainly helped us build a platform here. Win $50 this morning if you are the first 2 female callers. $50 for the first 2 female callers. Just give us a call at 877-960-9960. Any question at all that you want to ask, or if you just want to say hello. There's a lot of news out there, and you may have seen it this past week, so there's a lot of questions to ask. Again, that number, 877-960-9960. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
There was a little conversation last week. You folks who listened to the show last week, we were talking about why Toyota named their electric car. What does it do? The BZ.
BZ4X.
In Automotive News, there's an article about why are manufacturers naming their cars so stupidly. And it seems the engineers and the designers, the tech people, they're not marketing people, but they say, I got a great name. And of course, if you analyze...
Well, that one came from an engineer for sure.
Yeah, and exactly.
just sitting in the
tells
little room.
Precisely, it's zero emissions. But the only people that understand that are the people that gave it the name. And to market a car, you have to have a memorable name. But some of the names out there today are very forgettable.
For example, let's talk about the Tiguan.
The
Earl and
Tiguan.
I have just sat in the car driving through Palm Beach County seeing the
Tiguans.
Tiguan. So, it depends on who you're talking
That
to.
sounds like a body
Tiguan,
part.
Tiguan. So, does everybody know how they came up with that
Yeah,
name?
it's the thing
We're
that hangs
talking
down in the back of your
iguanas.
throat. It's a T1.
We're talking the iguanas. We're talking tigers.
Oh.
And all of it has meaning as to how the vehicle operates and what it can do to calm you and what it can do to accelerate you.
It's
So
a striped iguana known as a Tiguan.
there you go.
Very good. I get confused by the Tesla names. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
we're Tesla kind of folks around
Terrible.
here.
You know what they are? They are It was some little. Apparently, Elon Musk has got a strange sense of humor.
Yes, sexy.
And so he wanted to sexy.
That's
Sexy.
putting it mildly.
Yeah,
Right.
Model S, and then the E for.
And he couldn't do a Model E because there was one already taken, so he had to do the three
Yeah.
for the backwards E.
Yeah.
But the thing that drives me crazy about Teslas is they don't have the model name on the car, and I have a hard time telling the difference between a Model Y and a Model 3.
yeah.
They're kind of similar.
Of all the things,
There's
you
no
know,
writings on it.
If you're
Exactly.
if you have a sense of marketing, you know how important a name is, and how the manufacturers, these geniuses, these multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they can afford to hire anybody they want. Why do they allow these names that no one can remember?
Before we go too far, I'm not going to criticize the Tesla names because somehow they became the number one.
In spite of themselves, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was like it's a part of the mysterious marketing. Like, what is that? There's no name on it. They talk about it, got buzz going. But now they're the number one car manufacturer in the world, at least for now, and they could probably put the names on their cars.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
exactly. Okay, Rick?
Johnny Z. Fradley came in with an interesting comment here. He says, I heard that Florida passed a law that car manufacturers aren't allowed to sell directly to the consumer like Jim Farley wants to do with electric if they have existing dealers. Tesla and other startups can because they don't have contracts with dealers. And also, dealers can't do one price, or maybe they can't advertise one price.
I didn't hear about that part. I heard about all the other parts.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's entirely accurate. I think they said that the manufacturer cannot set the price on the car with a dealer.
Right.
And of course, they never have been able to.
Right.
The dealer can set any price he wants.
Yeah, the law was just almost. I think it was just to get some attention to it. I don't know because that's been the law forever, and they just basically, I think, actually explicitly said you can't have had a previous franchise contract.
Yeah, it's like Stu says, the law has been in effect for many years, and interesting story I've told on the show before. Jim Moran, you car folks out there, everybody knows Jim Moran. He's passed away, and he founded the distributorship for Toyota back in the late 50s, early 60s, and one of the wealthiest men on earth, and JM Family now is one of the biggest corporations in the automotive business. But he had a Toyota dealership. A lot of people don't know that. He owned a Toyota dealership in South Florida. And they made him sell it because it was a violation back then. I'm talking about early 60s. They made him sell it because a distributor or a manufacturer cannot sell cars directly. They have to have, according to state law in Florida, in all 50 states, you have to have a dealer to sell your cars. That's how strong the dealer lobby is in the state legislatures and the federal legislature to be able to get that law into effect. So here was the battle of the titans now, the manufacturers and the dealers and Jim Moran. So he went ahead and he got a Lexus dealership. Well, the law is he couldn't sell Lexus, that's JM Lexus in South Florida, largest Lexus dealership in the world. So Jim Moran lobbied the Florida legislature. There is one exception to the dealer franchise law that says only the dealers can sell cars, manufacturers can't, and that's JM Lexus. So there's only one in the world, or at least one in the United States, JM Lexus. It's owned by Jim Moran, actually, the Jim Moran Group now, because Jim Moran passed away. But only dealers can sell cars. They get away with anything they want to do. Manufacturers can't tell them a lot of things, and one of those is the price. A dealer can charge you $1 million for a car with an MSRP of $50,000 if he wants to, if he can find somebody dumb enough to pay the $1 million.
Yeah, definitely happening right now, today, market adjustment. We're going to go to Stuart, and Walter would like to chat with us this morning. Welcome, Walter.
Good morning. I have a 2008 Toyota Yaris, and the antenna mast broke in two. I've managed to tape it back together, but I was reading that either through rain or going through a car wash, there's a possibility that water could get into the headliner. Is that true?
There is a slim possibility, depending on the design of that. If it's just a threaded-on mast and the base is solid, then you're okay. But if the base has been cracked or damaged, I would either get that fixed or try to use some sort of an epoxy or something to make sure that it's sealed so you don't get water getting in through there.
Does Toyota still make that? Because the dealership I brought it to was supposed to order the part, and I never heard back from them.
Now, that's a difficult situation because one of the rules is that dealers are supposed to, or actually the manufacturer is supposed to make sure that replacement parts are available for a minimum of 10 years after the ending of that car or the ending of that part. And unfortunately, if that part was discontinued, if it was from 2008 and we're in 2023, 15 years,
right.
It may not be available any longer.
Well, what I recommend you do is Google it. In fact, we'll do that for you here.
Absolutely.
Still, you want to Google that? You can find. I have found. In fact, think about these people that have antique cars. We had my father, the first car he sold in 1937, Pontiac. We bought parts for that. And if you really dig deep and you got this, now we got artificial intelligence and Google, you can usually find a part to just about any car. You might have to pay up for it, but you'll usually find it, sometimes even on Amazon. Any luck on the...
I wasn't Googling, I was responding to someone on Facebook.
Okay.
I would look, Google the part, but also look on eBay and rockauto.com. And also, believe it or not, J.C. Whitney sometimes... Even as old as they are, they sometimes have sources for different parts that can be used that can repair that as well.
See, my only concern is I would prefer to have the Toyota dealer put it on such that I don't run into a water leakage problem.
Right.
Well, that's probably wise, but you could buy the part if you found it. You said the dealers you called didn't have the part, but if you supply them with the part, then they'd have to charge you the labor for the installation.
So really what you're saying is the mast itself, even if it's snapped in two, chances are it's not going to leak, but it's around where the connector part is, could leak.
Yes, if there's any cracks or damage on the base where it's mounted on the roof there,
right?
That's what you want to look at. As long as that part is solid and secure, then you can replace that antenna mast. You should be able to find that mast for like $10 or $12 online, and it simply threads in.
Yeah, I just Googled it.
If it's just the mast itself.
Walter, I just Googled it, and there's a number of places, including Amazon, that carry Yaris parts. So there are a lot of people like you that are having the same challenge, and there's a part out there. Just a question to find the right price.
Okay,
Yep.
and I've got another quick question. On the top of my roof are two rubber parts that go from the windshield to the tailgate, on the left and on the right. The last time I went through a car wash, it sounded like somebody was hitting the top of the roof with a hammer, and I found out the right rubber part was separating from the paint or the roof. How do I get that back on? Just put some like Gorilla Glue on there?
That's called the roof drip rail molding.
Right.
And what I would recommend in that case is it'd take a little bit of work. You may want to get someone to do this for you. Depend on how comfortable you are with DIY, but local shops or even somebody local can do it. You just pull that molding up. It's a snap in place, but you're going to want to clean the bottom surface of it and the area in the track where it needs to go. And when you put it back down at the very ends of it, you want to put some 3M type double stick tape, just say a couple inches on each end, so that it will kind of have an adhesive to hold those ends down, and the rest of it will snap down in place in that railing, and that'll lock it in. But you want to make sure that those ends have got some adhesive to hold them down in, and they'll lock into place that way.
So it was designed to snap into place.
Yes, but
Okay.
with an adhesive on each end.
Okay, one thing real quick, and then I'll let you guys go. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I saw online that GM is recalling over 1 million SUVs for airbag issues.
Well, that's a big. This whole airbag issue is been going on for years and years. They're jumping on the bandwagon again. There's a fight now between NHTSA and the manufacturer of these airbags. That is, they're fighting it. But it's a sad situation. They're currently building cars with defective airbags. Manufacturers are doing that, and it's just an unfortunate situation.
And it just keeps going and going and going.
The NHTSA own dictate is that they will make a decision on a recall within 1 year. They've been talking about this particular airbag for 8 years. So finally, another government agency is going after the NHTSA saying you can't be doing this. So it's a sad situation. If you're concerned about it, I would definitely, before I bought a car, I would go to safercar.org. SAFERCAR.org. And you can put your VIN number into the car you think about buying. It'll tell you what recalls are outstanding out there. But in the case of this airbag, the NHTSA has not issued the recall. So even unless the recall has been issued, you're not going to find out. It's a sad situation. We got to run. We got callers holding. Thank you very much, Walter, for the call.
Yes, thank you, Walter. Our number is 877-960-9960. Remember, ladies, first two new lady callers, you win yourself $50 this morning. We are going to go straight to Palm City, where we're going to talk with John, who is a regular caller. Good morning, John, and welcome.
Good morning. Speaking of obsolete parts, I want to mention that people don't know Mercedes-Benz has a division. It's in Long Beach, California, run by Mercedes-Benz with genuine Mercedes-Benz replacement parts. I'm talking about anything and everything.
Really?
I spoke to a man that had a 77, and he couldn't get the engine bearings. He got them through them.
Wow.
It's Mercedes-Benz directly, but it's a separate division. 866-622-5277. On Instagram, it's at Mercedes Classic Center, and it's practically anything that you want over 10 years for Mercedes cars.
What is that again? Give me that number again, please.
866
866.
622 5277.
Well, thanks.
Now,
That's
these
really
are
interesting.
genuine Mercedes authentic parts and replacement parts, and it goes, over the 10-year limit, which they're required at your dealer to keep.
Boy, how smart that is. That is really great. Well,
And
thanks
it's
for that
directly
information.
Mercedes parts.
Yeah.
Now, one other question I have, too. Earl was in business, and he remembers. We were going crazy in the 80s, maybe late 70s, on sunroofs. I mean, it was nothing but a headache. A dealer would order a car, and there were companies that would actually install the sunroof. There was leak problems. It was unbelievable, but it was a trend. Everybody and their grandmother, instead of a convertible, which they didn't make anymore, they wanted the sunroof. Well, one company is ahead of all of it now. It was just announced that a Prius Prime has a solar-powered sunroof, $610 extra when you buy the car. The basic price on that car is $32,350, and it has the electric solar power, which turns into it could make you actually into your system or any other use that you want on it. And it was just newly announced last week. It's called Prius Prime, $610 extra, solar-powered sunroof.
Wow.
Well, you always have something for us, John. That's just amazing. But I do recall back when everybody really wanted a sunroof. Even people, they purchased a vehicle with a sunroof, but then there were the crazies who decided they wanted a sunroof put in their car, and there was nothing but problems.
There was a company called American Sunroof in California. The stock went crazy. The company went crazy. They were putting them in for the manufacturers on sedans and coupes.
That only kind of fell out of favor in the 2000s. So there's a company down in South Florida called Sun Auto Tops, and they did all the sunroofs for all the dealers down here. And Yeah, we had problems with depending on the car and how big the roof was. Like they'd cut a big old roof hole in one, and yeah, there were a lot of comebacks, as we say in the business, with those. And but they branched out into other accessories, dropped the sunroofs, and now they're just an accessory company.
Yeah,
Well,
you have.
Toyota beat Elon Musk because why didn't he think of a solar-powered sunroof?
Well, John, Toyota had a solar roof on the Prius a long time ago, and
I didn't know that.
yeah, that was
it had actually only one real function. That solar roof would power a fan
ventilation
that would circulate air through the car. So when your car was sitting outside in the Florida sunshine, it would stay about 15 to 20 degrees cooler inside.
Yeah, it looked pretty neat. And I'm looking at this thing. So we were talking about sunroofs. Now this is a literal sunroof. This is the Prius thing. So yeah, I don't think it opens up, but but it does charge the battery. It trickle charges the batteries.
Yeah.
I don't know how rapidly it does, but it looks pretty
Is
cool.
it true that you can order it now for $610 extra?
It is a $610 upgrade, yes, John, but you can order it and you would probably get delivery about 3 years from now. It is the slowest produced, and all of them, the ones, well, it's all over in California. Most of the allocations of these like really tech things are going to the emission states. So, and it's a low production thing anyway, so it's a really long lead time.
Okay, like our poor customer that calls in now, a year and a half waiting for a Toyota.
We if somebody calls in for something like that, we talk about other options, but give them an honest answer. It does take a long time.
All right. Well, it's good to know about this Mercedes-Benz because they're genuine parts and they're available.
All right,
Yeah,
that's really
definitely.
good info.
Thank you so much. That's 866-622-5277. Mercedes parts.
And it's on Instagram, too.
Is it? Okay, very
Yes.
good.
MB Classic Center.
B Classic Center. Thanks,
We
John.
enjoy your information every week, John. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, guys.
You're welcome. We're going to go to Fitz, and he's calling us from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Fitz.
Yes, hello. I have a question about an issue with my vehicle.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2009 Hyundai Sonata, and on the dashboard is the lights and the ESC electronic stability control light stays on. Before it used to go off when you first start up the car, it would come on and then go off, but now it's staying solid on the dashboard, saying ECS off.
It's broken.
And there's a switch on the left side on the lower section of the dashboard. When it's on and when it's off, it says off on the dashboard. I try to push it to turn it on, but it's not turning on. From my little research I did online, it said that could be a switch or something like that close to the brake pedal or under the brake pedal.
There's a lot of different problems that can cause the stability control to shut down like that. Basically what happens is anytime that the computer sees a malfunction, whether it's a speed sensor, in the brake light switch, in the actuator unit itself for the brakes, anything like that, the system's automatically going to go into what's called a backup mode, where it shuts down the electronics portion so that you still have normal hydraulic brakes, but the whole stability control and the anti-lock brake system shuts itself down so that it doesn't cause further problems. You'd want to get that checked out by either someone that's very familiar with Hyundai or at a Hyundai dealership.
And it sounds like an expensive diagnosis. So many possibilities. What would you guess the diagnostic time charge would be?
Most places are going to start at a base thing of 1 hour, and that includes cooking up the scan tool, pulling the codes, and getting a basic idea. Usually, when you pull the codes from the computer on it, it's going to give you a pretty definite idea of what the problem is.
$150.
About 120 to 150, yeah, for the initial diagnosis.
And that's just the initial diagnosis, which might not fix it, and they have to keep on going. So you have to ask yourself, how much do you want to spend on this 2009 Hyundai?
Yeah, it's worth it for the initial diagnosis, because if it's just one little sensor, that say the sensor's $100 and another $150 to put it in, then that would usually that'd be pretty worthwhile. And a lot of places, if you have the diagnosis done and you have the repair done there as well, they either waive that fee or they put the diagnostic fee towards the repair of the car.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's something that I'm definitely, but I'm not gonna try to spend a huge amount of money. But I'm gonna get it fixed because it bothers me with it being on. You know what I mean?
Right, and it is a good safety.
Yes.
It's something that safety concerns in the car, brakes especially, anti-lock brakes. To me, safety concerns are one of the first things that I look at and say, you really want to concentrate on getting that taken care of, because, if it's the radio or something like that, hey, that's a nice thing, but safety concerns to me are a number one factor.
Right, yeah. Anyway, thanks for the information. Thanks for your help. Great show.
You're
Very welcome.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Fitz. Look forward to
Okay,
hearing
thanks.
from you. Stay in
Bye.
touch. 877-960-9960. Don't forget that we have a special guest this morning, and that's from the Big Dog Ranch Rescue. And her name is, is it her, Jonathan?
Her.
Stevie.
Stevie
And
Ticks.
her name, because there was a little confusion earlier, him, her, his, she. Anyway, she'll be here, and she is going to, dazzle us with her presence. So stay tuned for that. Again, the number is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget, ladies, don't forget $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Back to the recovering car dealer.
Let's check on our texts. We got any texts over those two?
Yeah, I got one from Anne Marie.
Of course.
Good morning. Every so often, I'll read an article and it will mention paddle shifters. I can't say that I've encountered them. What are paddle shifters and what are they doing? No, what are they used for? And that's from Anne Marie. Aren't they those things on the steering wheel that you can kind of like shift through the gears for the people who like to drive fast and go vroom?
Exactly that.
Okay, so they're little levers on either side of the steering wheel, and you can shift like you're driving a manual, like we were talking about earlier. It's kind of a fun thing. It's for sports car enthusiasts.
For
Actually,
for
there were
16 years old. That's a lot of fun.
Vroom.
The Toyota MR2 Spider that we had out for a few years, just a little bit back.
That little convertible.
There was one model of it that actually was a manual transmission with paddle shifters up on the wheel, but you had no clutch.
Yes, I remember.
So
this.
that when you were driving it and you hit the upshift, it would hydraulically and electronically apply the clutch, shift it to the next gear up, and release the clutch to let you go. It did it all electronically, and it was basically a copycat of the F1 racing,
Really?
F1 series race
And
cars.
that's how they shift?
That's how they shift, is with paddle shift up on the steering wheel.
There you go, Amory. If you'd like to put an order in for a car with paddle shifters, it's a 4-year wait. I'm just kidding. All right. All right, we have another text here. It's from Roy in Denver, unless we have a call. Just double checking. Good.
Thank you.
Roy says, Toyota's been behind the power curve with respect to supplying inventory to their dealers. Yep. Have you seen inventory rates picking up lately to reconcile from the shortage? A little bit. Not much, though. I mean, more than compared to other manufacturers. And we learned something just recently. It had to do with like the chip deals that the manufacturers were doing with the chip suppliers. And I think Toyota refused to get kind of bullied into these long-term chip agreements and wanted to keep these shorter ones because it allows them to be more price flexible. It's a strategic decision, and some of that has to do with why it's slower to get back up to speed. But the good news, and this is according to insiders at Toyota, that it will, in the coming years, when they get seriously into the EV market, which they plan to in 2025 and 2026, to have a significant, like a structural price advantage because of their deal with the chip manufacturers. And there you go. You got it from an insider right there.
But in general, the whole, if you look at the industry,
Yes.
the supply, days supply, we call it what car dealers call it.
Way up.
There's more cars on the ground now than there have been in a long while.
So we talked about the day supply thing. Like GM manufacturers, those dealers have about a 40-day supply on the lot. Toyotas still have under a 10-day supply. It's like 6 or 7 day supply.
And there are a couple of manufacturers out there that have 60-day supplies. Jeep is one of them.
Oh yeah.
So that's a
bad example for me.
When you're shopping for a car, be sure you get that information in terms of availability. Big inventory means lower prices. So if that's going to be a factor in what car you buy, then you ought to shop around and see which cars have the higher inventories. Then you can negotiate a better price than if you go to if you got a dealer that's only got 10 cars on the ground. And you want to buy one of those 10 cars, you're going to pay through the nose thousands of dollars, probably over MSRP.
All right, let's go back to the phones.
Yes, thank you, Stu. Hey, before we go back to the phones, I have a question for the ladies. How likely are you to buy a Tesla, an electric vehicle? Recently, this year, Elon has cut the prices 6 times. How likely are you to purchase an affordable electric vehicle, ladies? $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Give us a call. Plenty of time. 877-960-9960. We are going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Howard in Delray. Good morning, Howard, and welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling Earl on Cars.
I bought a Toyota Camry, and it's from an auction. I bought it from a private person. He said that it has to be inspected for it to be registered.
Not true in Florida.
Yeah.
There is no state inspection. There used to be many years ago, but Florida does not do that. Now, some of the other states do. Maybe that's why the confusion.
Yeah. Even new cars.
He said that he has to bring it down to Miami to make sure the numbers are right.
That sounds like you're talking. It sounds like you're talking to a con artist, or somebody who is really severely confused.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
Not in this state.
Be real careful. Have you already bought the car and paid the money?
Yes. Yeah.
There's no state law. Why he would want.
Yeah, to register, you just bring the title and your sales paperwork to the DMV.
Yeah. There's a remote chance that some municipality may have passed a law, which would be silly if they did, but it's possible. West Palm Beach or Miami Springs.
I don't think Ron DeSantis would allow any other.
But I don't
government.
think so.
Do you have the title?
He has the title. He was going to bring it down.
Okay, get the title. You've given him the money?
Yeah, I gave him the money.
Get your title. That's your number one priority above all.
And
get
I
the
could
title.
do it myself.
Yeah, get the title and register the car, and don't let them tell you any other.
Yeah, it sounds
crap.
to me. I agree with Stu. Now that you told me that you paid the money and don't have the title, you better bring this to a head quickly because it could be
Bring a friend.
flim-flam. Yeah, be careful.
Bring your buddy with you.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay,
Good talking
we're
to you.
going to...
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 877-960-9960, and we're going to talk to Lance, who's giving us a call from Tennessee. Good morning, Lance.
Well, Earl, bad news on Earl Stewart Day 2024. Several of the committee members have been arrested.
No.
And we're trying to get bail up right now.
There you go.
Okay.
Were they sampling on that white lightning again?
Earl, first of all, let me just say, one thing that I listen some to Zach and Ray, and they talk a lot about inquiring about the buy rate when you go to purchase a car. I experimented just a little bit with that, and I couldn't find one dealer, not one, because unless I'm wrong, I don't see that it's something that has to be disclosed.
I honestly don't know if it's required. It's not required to be disclosed. They can say, hey, this is what we're selling or this loan for, this interest rate, and take it or leave it.
Yeah, most people don't even know about the buy rate. You're a step ahead because you know that's the case, and typically there's at least a 1% spread, sometimes more than that.
Yeah.
Which can
Quite a
make
bit.
a whole lot of money for the dealer for like an 84-month loan. 1% spread, that's thousands of dollars typically.
But yeah, I don't think they're required to do that. I mean, if
If they were required, it'd be under the Truth in Lending Law,
Yeah.
and the Truth in Lending Law does not require it. If there's some other law that was passed to the state that I don't know about, it's possible, but there's no federal reason that the dealer has to disclose the buy rate.
I just think they're wrong that recommend, not buying if that's not disclosed. It's not being disclosed.
Yeah, now there's other, like a lot of new car dealerships, if they're selling a vehicle and they're financing it with a incentive, a manufacturer's subsidized rate, like you don't see these days because interest rates are so high. But back in the days of normal interest rates, you'd see like 0% financing, 0.9. Those buy rates are not even in the picture there. That's just something that's subsidized. But right now, it's a very important thing if you can get that information, that would be pretty good. But you help yourself just the same by getting multiple quotes for your financing anyway, by getting credit union, your bank, another
you
dealer.
always got to get the credit union rate and your bank rate. The dealer can play all sorts of games.
Whatever he wants to do,
It's
yeah.
not worth getting into a discussion with a dealer about financing. Go to the bank. Go to the credit union. That's where you're going to get the best rate. Years ago, back when I was an evil dealer, one of my tricks was I would actually offer an extremely low rate to the customer, lower than the bank rate. I'd advertise if the bank rate was 5%, I'd offer 4%. Then I'd go to the bank and I would pay them money, and I'd buy the rate down by the bank, and add the cost of my buying the rate down to the price of the car. So it's a dealer's game,
Right.
and they know the rules. It's like going into a poker game, and you look around the room, you don't know who the sucker is. That means you're the sucker. So don't play the dealer's game. Go straight to the bank. Go straight to the credit union.
And if a guy's trying to whack you over the head with a big spread, you'll see it because he's going to have his rate's going to be much higher than the other quotes you're getting.
Earl and Nancy, please don't lose sleep over this, over the defection of some of our committee members. We'll get them back. It might be 60 to 90 days after they serve just a little bit of time, but we'll get them back on the committee soon.
I'll keep my eye on Earl and Nancy, and I'll counsel them and give them all the comforting and sympathy they need.
Thank you so much, Stu. We knew we could depend on you. Lance, thank you so much for calling. We've got like so many calls backed up, and we appreciate your call. And thank you for listening. And we love hearing from you from Tennessee. You've encouraged a lot of callers out of Tennessee to call us, so we appreciate that. We are going to go to Jersey Mike. Jersey Mike in West Palm Beach.
Jersey Mike, that's a
Yippee-yi-yay.
Subway sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to get the stickball special and a bag of chips, please.
I'm waiting. I'm ready. Hi, Jersey Mike.
Hey, Jersey, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Jersey Mike. Welcome.
Or should I call you Mike?
Yeah, that's good. Listen, I
How you
wanna
fix for
compliment-
subs?
Yeah, I want to compliment Earl Stewart. Okay, I bought a 2018 Kia from him with 11,000 miles on it, and he impressed himself at that time at the dealer for some reason. Coincidentally, handed me the Carfax on that car. Now I ran that up to 33,000 miles, and I gave it away as a wedding gift to my daughter up in Tennessee, where I'm traveling up to today, believe it or not. In any case, I didn't put anything into that car, and that air conditioner could give you frostbite, okay? I mean, it was perfect.
Well, thank Kia. Earl didn't build that car.
Well, I have to compliment Earl Stewart because they do a thorough inspection of what they're selling out of the lot there, and I was very, very happy with that. Even though he said you'd be better off buying cars not Fort Lauderdale, Miami, or West Palm Beach, but you should go north if you want to get a good buy. But it doesn't matter. I got to compliment him. I think it was great.
Oh, thank you. We're in the middle of the war. We're down here.
Okay.
It's not easy being the only honest guy in town, but
You're right about that. For sure. But let me bring you to my technical question, okay? Now you're not going to believe what I got with this one. I got a 1995 Cadillac, big car. It's about 4,500 pounds, okay? All metal, no plastic like my 2014 AST that I bought. That's mostly plastic, okay? And I've always been a Cadillac man. I've got over 2 million miles under my rear in what I used to do as an entrepreneur many years back. But I bought this, and that's a collector's item today. Now, it was on my pad, alongside my house behind the fence, and somebody broke into it when I was away, and they tried to steal it. I'm sorry, it wasn't on the pad. It was on the pad, but it was on the front of my fence in my driveway, and they broke the column. Now, I had that car towed to AutoNation here in town, and their report was, sorry, can't help you, it's too old. So far as repairing it or putting a whole new steering column in. Now, I'm in a real dilemma because I don't know where to find it. My insurance company will back me and pay for it if I can find it. And I've looked all over. I've gone to Rock Auto, I've gone to LQT or LQP, whatever it is.
Yeah, like
LKQ.
Yeah, all these different places. And if there was a junkyard to have one, I'd go and take it out because I am a motorhead, all right? I've been that since I was 17 years old. I'm 77 now. So I've seen a lot, during that time.
Professional restorer, maybe?
No.
Mike, let us do this. Let us research that for you. We've got 5 callers, and we don't have the answer, but we'll get the answer. And if you'll give your contact information to Jeremy in the booth, we'll call you today or tomorrow and try to get you that information.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And Earl, again, I want to compliment you. You had one of the best dealers ever going, I think.
Well, thank you.
Hey,
very
Jeremy,
much.
CadillacSociety.com.
We got 5 callers holding here.
That's Jersey Mike.
Yep.
Yes.
CadillacSociety.com. Check that website.
I will. Thank you so much,
Well,
folks.
thank you, Jersey Mike. Give us a call again. We'll follow up on that and get that information from not Jeremy, but Mike in the control room. We're going to go straight to Mark, who's been holding in Pompano. Thank you for your patience. And Brenda will be right with you, and Marty also, and you others. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How are you?
Welcome.
Good. I got a drivability issue. I got a 97 Tacoma V6.
97?
97.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And keep getting the check engine. I check it out, and it keeps reading up for the idle control. And I've had a lot of work done on it to try and get rid of this code, new intake manifold, and I even had it at one of your other Toyota dealers, and they had it for almost 2 weeks. They said they took out the computer, and they tried to clean up the computer, and they could never get anything right. It runs fine, but every now and then I get that idle control, that check engine light.
And have you had the throttle body replaced?
Yes, throttle body's been replaced.
Because the 97 Tacoma used an idle air control valve on the bottom of the throttle body.
Correct.
And this basically would duty cycle to let air past the throttle plate so that it can control the idle speed. If that little valve has gotten dirt or debris in it, that usually was what would trigger that code. And they were very difficult to clean out because anything that you sprayed in there would just cause horrible issues with them. So we usually wound up recommending replacing them. What would happen is somebody would go in and try to clean the throttle body with that butterfly plate, and they would spray too much chemical in there, and it would drip down into that idle air control valve and gum it up, and then it would have to be replaced. But if they've replaced that already and you're still having an issue, then it's either got to be the wiring to the computer or the computer itself. And I would suspect more likely it's something to do with the wiring. maybe a rat has gotten in and chewed on one of the wires, causing just a little high resistance in there. What they're going to need to do is somebody's got to go ahead and do a voltage drop test across that wiring to try to figure out what's going on there.
Are you talking about the spark plug wires?
No, it's the wires to the idle air control valve and to the throttle body.
Okay, now last week I was getting a really bad pulsating when I drive it with RPMs. I took out the air cleaner. The air cleaner was really messed up. I put in a new air filter. Bing, it seemed to run fine. So I don't, like I said, I'll plug it in to check for the code. Once you clear the code, it'll run fine for a while, and then it'll start up again.
Mark, listen, let's do this. We'll have to call you after the show. Rick can call you. But we've got 5 callers here, and my parting comment would be you need to rethink hanging onto that truck that's a quarter century old. I mean, everything wears out. You've been driving that thing, or someone's been driving it for 25 years, and you just got to be pouring good money after bad if you keep on trying to fix that. But we'll talk about it, or we can talk about it privately after the show. We've got 5 callers.
You can leave your information with Mike in the control room, and he'll pass it along to us. We definitely
I really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. Thank you so much for calling Earl on Cars. Sorry to rush you. Okay, have a great weekend. We are going to go to Brenda in Boca. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you so much for your patience. Are you a first-time caller?
I am.
Congratulations, you won yourself $50 this morning. And if you stay on the line after we're finished talking, the control room will get your information. His name is Mike, and he'll get your information as contact information so that he can pass it along to me, and I can write that check out and send it out to you. Again, congratulations and thanks for helping us build a platform here for the ladies. What can we do for you this morning, Brenda?
I've recently purchased a 2017 Lincoln MKX, and I was hoping you all could recommend a good, reputable Ford or Lincoln dealer in the Boca area.
We can recommend for sure one if you don't mind driving about 20, 30 minutes up north to North Palm Beach. And there is Mullinax Ford on North Lake Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens, Lake Park, North Palm Beach area. It's only about 30 minutes from you. They are one of the true honest dealers. They consistently pass with flying colors in our mystery shopping reports, and we never hear complaints about them. Family owned and with a lot of integrity. No dealer fees too if you want to buy a car. North Lake Boulevard, yeah. It's Mullinax, Mullinax.
AX, okay,
Yeah.
Super, thank you. And would you recommend possibly getting an extended warranty on a Lincoln warranty?
I would be careful. I would spend the money that you're contemplating on a warranty and just have a really good technician, maybe at Mullinax, check the car out and see if it's in pretty good shape. Extended warranties typically don't cover the expensive problems that you have with a vehicle, and too many of them are just to make money on and take advantage of the customer. It's a real minefield when you're buying extended warranties. So my recommendation would be no.
Okay, well, super. Thank you. I really enjoy your show and appreciate you all.
Thank you, Brenda. You know, Brenda, talking about extended warranties, I always ask what they don't cover. That's the most important question for me, what they don't cover. And the information that you got from Stu, he knows firsthand because he's right on top of the list, good dealers, bad dealers. So Mullinax Ford on North Lake Boulevard is your best bet.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful day. And happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Brenda, don't forget to pass your information along now to the control room, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to go to Marty, who's holding. Thanks for your patience, Marty, in West Palm Beach.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I've got a question for Stu. Since I waited 15 months for my car and then ended up not taking it, I'm waiting for the 24. We'll be able to order a 24, but I want to know, can you order a car without the sunroof? And I think you can order without navigation, but can you order like an XLE hybrid, Camry XLE hybrid, without a sunroof?
I'll tell you, we'll take the price off if you promise not to use the sunroof.
Earl, I want you to know, for the past 5 cars, I've never opened up the sunroof yet.
That was back when I was evil. We literally would tell the customers that it would have air conditioning, and we had these Finnish, there's a Finnish colony in Lake Worth back then. They were very cheap people, and I guess in Finland it's kind of cool, and they don't need air conditioning. So they'd come and say, I don't want the air conditioner. We'd say, listen, don't tell anybody, but if you promise not to use it, we won't charge you for the air conditioner.
Yeah. I just want to know, is that going to be a car that I got to wait 3 years for without a sunroof?
I was sitting there listening to you, Marty, and I had a joke prepared, but then Earl came in with a better joke, so I'll just leave it. The answer, my serious answer is I don't know. The joke was going to be yes, but you'd have to take paddle shifters, and but Earl's joke was funnier. Yeah, talk to Jason. I really don't know. Some of there's a lot of confusing equipment. Some packages they come in a certain way, and ultimately we can do like a special order of some sort, but then it takes longer. The best thing to do is talk to one of the guys in the sales department.
I guess you can't order a 24 yet. They said. So,
I mean, you can get on the list. But it's kind of like it's pointless.
If I were you, I think you almost hit the Guinness Book of waiting for a car. I think if you do this and make it really complicated, you might be able to maybe go a couple of years on this next one. So
yeah, is there any way Toyota could put me in an ad saying? This guy waited
longer
15
for his
months.
car than anybody that ever bought a Toyota.
Yep.
I think you got a shot at that.
The Guinness World Book
Who
of
should I
Records.
call? Should I call Toyota and put my name?
Toyota. He got demoted,
Call
and so he's got some
Ghostbusters.
time on his hands. So just call Akio Toyota.
Well, here's the number. Call 1-800 44. Wait, what is it, Rick? Wait, 1-800-433. What's the number?
Oh boy,
I'm gonna have to Google it.
Yeah, just call Jason Liddy.
Yeah.
Can I call directly to Japan?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Only if you speak Japanese.
I can hook you up, Marty.
All right. Well, thanks. I hope the next one works out.
Hey, we really appreciate you calling week in and week out, whether it's about you being. And wait, let me interrupt myself. Have you been on a list before in your life? Have you been on the list?
No.
No, I've been on a lot of. I've been on a lot of people's lists.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Well, I won't tell you what a few car dealers told me in the past.
Oh boy.
When I go to make a deal, but this is a family show.
Exactly. I can imagine. You sound like as if that you know the deal.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good
All right,
trait.
have a good
Thanks,
weekend,
Marty.
everybody.
You're
Have
welcome.
a happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you. We are going to check out some YouTubes and some texts with some time we have left here.
What do you got over there, Rick?
Well, I got a couple comments from back when we were discussing the sunroof issues. Let's see who was here. I believe Johnny Z. Fradley mentioned T-tops as well, and Negan One also mentioning the T-tops, such as from the '79 Trans Am. If you remember Smokey and the Bandit.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, we just got one in from Scott Hunter. Let's see. Marty ordered a Camry previously, and the headrest was an issue.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the model won't change. I think you should consider another model. If I were Marty, I'd be looking at the Crown.
Yeah.
That Crown is a beautiful car.
Yeah, that definitely is a great piece
But
of work.
sit in it before you order it.
Right, because some people have had there's been mixed reviews of the comfort level depending on your size, and I forgot how big Marty is.
Is there?
Huh?
Is there a
Yeah, I think bigger people are having it's harder getting in and out. It's less comfortable, and smaller people are finding it more comfortable.
So-
but it is lower. It's also lower. It's not like quite like an SUV either. So it's a mixed bag.
yeah?
Some
So
people
I'd
love
fit
it.
in it pretty good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd see.
I
it.
mean, I got 6,500 miles on my Avalon, and it's a 2021.
All right.
So I think, but I'm hesitant. You know, I can appreciate Marty's story week in and week out, but we joke about it, but it's really not funny. But I can't even imagine how long I'd have to wait for a Crown.
Well, we might be able to speed things up for you, Miss Nancy.
Heard that before.
All
Okay,
right.
back to Stu.
Okay, we have some anonymous feedback. I think this is in response to something that I mentioned. Is, do you really believe that the Toyota inventory shortage is due to chip deals? According to your friends at YAA, Toyota is making more money by purposely limiting inventory to the U.S. market, and that they made more cars last year than ever. I hadn't heard that. I'm going on just the information that I got, but I'd be curious to see what where that came from. I mean, in the absence of information,
it's not true.
Conspiracy theories kind
all of the
creep up.
manufacturers, there's two words tattooed on every manufacturer's chest. It's called market share, and all the auto manufacturers go insane to get a higher percentage of the market, and that's the reason that they. And they don't set the price on the car anyway. All they do is set the price the dealer pays. The dealer sets whatever price he wants to, and that's legislated into law in all 50 states. So whether you pay too much or too little for a car, that's the dealer's choice. So there's indirectly the manufacturer can of course affect the cost to the dealer, but that isn't anywhere near as offensive or dangerous to the buyer than what the dealer charges. So there's no truth to the fact that the manufacturers are holding back production. In a way, I wish they would, because as a dealer for all these years, for 50 years, my problem with all the manufacturers, I've had multiple franchises, and the manufacturers, in the vernacular, they shove cars down the dealers' throats. They call up and they say, these are the cars we're going to build, and if you don't take them, you're in trouble. You know, I've had manufacturers threaten to cancel my franchise if I didn't accept cars they built. And when they produce and you overstock cars, then you have to start slashing prices to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that instills the.
They still. I mean, it's pretty nice in our area with our Toyota people, but outside, we heard from other dealers outside of our region that we still routinely get very menacing letters. When this obviously hasn't happened in the last few years, but prior to the inventory stuff. Threatening menacing letters, suggestive letters if they turn down inventory.
Now, we just talked about earlier, Tesla sales in the last report were up 58%. Elon Musk, Tesla's been cutting prices across the board. And he said, you might not agree with a lot of things, but you got to agree he's a smart guy. And he is, by cutting the prices, Nancy talked about this at the beginning of the show, by cutting the prices, he's glomping up market share. In California, the Tesla's outselling the Toyota Corolla, which is like the largest selling car in the country.
Elon has taken over the world. And by the way, I wanted to, that subject, I wanted to tell you, Earl, that Sue did text us, and she said that she's feeling a little insecure about the charging the electric vehicle. So, Sue, text us back and tell us exactly what you mean. I don't want to assume on that text, but you said that you still feel insecure with charging the electric vehicle. So
she's it's range anxiety. It's a thing.
Is that what it is?
It is a real thing, especially people that are like uncomfortable or new to high tech things. It can be pretty intimidating. And then the idea that you could get stranded somewhere if you weren't charged, and it's just going to take time as people becomes more used to it. But
so that would apply to someone who doesn't have a charging station in their garage,
right?
There's a lot of people who don't.
It's the idea that, I'll be honest with you, like even my wife, we were, talking about something like that. Then the idea of she makes trips up, out of town a lot.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, until it feels like there's a lot of superchargers, like the fast charging ones that are quick, that a lot of people are gonna wait until that infrastructure, I think, and gets a little bit more, and you see them everywhere.
Does that apply to you? Is that the reason
Not
why
me.
you're waiting not to
No, I'm an
install
early-
a charger in your garage?
I have a charger in my garage.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rick's got something he wants to say.
A couple here on YouTube. Tom Steckel says the Toyota method is just in time, so they don't tie up so much capital in inventories. That's what they've always said. James Fronte comes in and says, "Tell Stu I'm not sold on Toyota not being cynical and limiting production on purpose and making more expensive vehicles so they can drive up the average transaction price. Also, YAA is now known as Car Edge with Zach and Ray Shefska.
We know that.
Look at the amount of market share that Hyundai, Kia, and TIA Messer extent, to a lesser extent, he's got a couple typos there, Subaru and Mazda are making against the large OEMs like Toyota and Honda. And happy Father's Day, he says.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day, but nope.
I respect your opinion, but you're wrong. I mean, I've lived this all my life, and I can tell you, it's a fault that Toyota has, and Ford and Honda. The big reason that Toyota doesn't hold back production is one big word is Honda. Or Ford. The competition among there's too many manufacturers. There's too many cars and too many manufacturers building too many cars, way too many dealers, and so it's a feeding frenzy of market share.
And with any large conspiracy theory, there's way too many people. I mean, throughout this entire ordeal, since the whole thing started, towards in the middle of COVID, when things started getting wacky, we've had real-time reports given to us from the suppliers, not directly, but for this to be true, they would have had to manufacture millions of fraudulent documents to send to the dealers explaining what was going on, and they're not going to do that.
Okay.
Is there
No.
Is there a dog here? Is there? Okay, I don't know. I'm just getting excited because we're doing the dog of the week on the show now.
Yeah, I see
and,
the spark in your eyes.
Well, last week,
and your ears come up.
like a
Stu
dog.
has the ability
To
to
sense
know
dogs.
when the dog is entering the building, and we're on the second floor.
So the dog's just entering the building. Last week, I felt a presence of a dog behind me.
Yeah.
And there was.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't even hear the door
He's a
open.
dog whisperer.
Yeah, so I have headphones on. I can't hear when the door opens.
I wonder if Uber would bring the dog to us instead of having to have somebody drive in for a big dog ranch.
I think
will Uber accept a dog?
I tried sending my dog to the vet in an Uber, and they wouldn't do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God!
I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
My mom wanted to visit Wally, and I Uber over there. No.
Okay, Rick.
I got one other here from James Fronte again. He says, if Toyota is wise, they will bow down like GM and Ford did and use the Tesla charging stations.
I think
or
they
at least get on the
that'd be
bandwagon
great, but
with
they
that.
don't have any electric cars.
Right.
That's true, yeah.
They had it all figured out where electric was just a fad, and they really screwed up.
They're
big
trying to
time.
figure out where to put the plug.
Toyota's not talking about it now, but let me tell you, in the inner sanctum over there in Tokyo and other places,
There's a lot of those.
Tokyo.
There's blood on the
Hurry.
walls because Akio really messed up, and they're behind. And now they're playing PR to say, well, I'm still, I think Toyota is so smart. I still think maybe there's something I missed.
No, I think that they can afford to turn on a dime. They're not like a startup. If they decide to get serious about the electric, they got plenty of cash, plenty of R&D, and they can change that in a couple of years, probably dominate things.
They better pray that they can do that because they're the last to the game.
They are the last. I think the sentiment, hopefully, is, and I'm not to turn this into a Toyota thing, but a lot of people out there are pulling for Toyota. They like their Toyotas, and they're disappointed, and they might even leave and buy a Tesla and a Honda, some electric car, but when Toyota gets back in the game, they'll see what they have to offer.
In time, you're
They'll
exactly
be the
right.
largest manufacturer of combustion engine cars in the world.
What a distinction in 2023.
Rick?
James also says, I hope Earl is right and I am wrong about the greed of Toyota.
Well, as I say, I respect your opinion. I mean, I've been wrong before many times, so that's just my opinion. You got your opinion.
Yeah, I'm
we'll
going
see.
for my theory of it would be an illegal fraud that they would have pulled on the dealers in the
and
market.
that's another thing about Toyota. Toyota is, relatively speaking, honest. You're talking to a guy that's had a lot of franchises, and General Motors were the biggest crooks I ever dealt with. I mean, they were absolutely terrible,
Yikes.
criminal bad, and a lot of manufacturers I've been a Toyota dealer since 1975, and the manufacturer. I'm not going to talk about the distributor right now, but the manufacturer, they are extremely honest and transparent, and they still are.
Reputable, definitely. Okay,
One
Rick.
other quick comment here from Kirk in West by God, Virginia. Assume you're in an EV on a trip and your battery goes to zero before you reach a charging station. Does anyone have anything like a mobile charging capability?
Yeah, Tesla does.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
You call Tesla, they put a charger in your car. Right on your app on your phone for Tesla, you just hit, and they say, what happened? You say, I ran out of juice, and they send a automatic charger out, give you enough to get to the supercharger.
It's kind of difficult to carry a bucket of electricity
Exactly,
like
yeah.
you can a can of gasoline. Yeah.
Exactly.
We got a text here, a very good one, a very good point. It says, it's from Mark. It says, one home charging issue is a lot of people don't have garages or even homes for secure charging. You know, people that live in apartments and condominiums, and they're going to have to depend on public charging facilities. Yeah, and I was just about to say that, and also I think we will see, intelligent renters, and we'll have that will become a feature of in the market of buying homes, having charging facilities in communities, having charging facilities in apartment buildings and
as you
condos.
said earlier, Stu, a lot of it is your technical awareness. Tesla right now has got such a user-friendly. When you're driving, you start to get low. Automatically on this giant screen in front of you, it shows you the nearest supercharger, the waiting time, and when you charge, it goes right to your Tesla account on your app, so you don't have to look for your wallet or your credit card, and it tells you the range that you have left, and on the map, turn left, turn right, tells you exactly how to get to the nearest supercharger. So, but you got to be technically savvy to appreciate that.
Yeah, and
Do you think, excuse me, Stu, do you think, Earl, do you think that, how long will you continue to say that? Because I think that there are more people who are moving forward with technology.
That's definitely true, but I think technology is moving ahead faster than the people.
You're definitely right,
absorbing it.
Nancy. I think so, but there's still that group that are still hesitant. The group's getting smaller and smaller, but they're
Exactly.
still they're going, okay, that is really scary to me to sit inside a computer that's going to kind of determine.
How long has it been since? How long ago were we not mentioning electric vehicles? It wasn't even something that we would
5 years
discuss.
ago, maybe?
Was it 5 years?
Yeah,
I remember
the Chevrolet Volt was a joke, and before that, GM had a.
We talked
car that was a
about
joke.
more about autonomous driving, the future of autonomous driving. I think more than about electric, and I don't think we anticipated how rapidly it was going to happen.
It just went boom.
Yeah.
It just and Elon Musk has taken over the world.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, I can't believe that it's that was the manufacturer that wound up being so successful and really defining what an electric car is. You know, I always thought, like, if you asked me 20 years ago, I thought Toyota would do it, or Honda. I thought it was going to be a Japanese manufacturer that was going to get really successful with the cars.
Also, he was. Also, look at this chip shortage. Did Elon Musk have a chip shortage? Absolutely not. He was ahead of the game.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely got some competition now.
Well, part of it was the sophistication of his software, that he didn't need the chips. He also anticipated and bought ahead of time.
Yeah.
But the point is, with the more sophisticated the software, the less you rely on microchips in the car. So it's.
I'm looking forward with bated breath just to see what happens over the next 10 years as the rest of the world's car manufacturers are all become EV manufacturers, and how does Tesla how does he level out in that?
Yeah, I don't want to get too far out about this whole technical thing, but see, we just hit a huge wave of technological acceleration with artificial intelligence. And this AI thing, I hate it. It's hyped so much by people who don't know what it is and don't understand it. But I know enough about it to think that if there ever was a technological gap between the consumer and the manufacturers, this AI is going to increase the gap, not narrow it. Hopefully the AI will make it so user-friendly that you won't need to be technological savvy. But yeah, I agree with Stu. It's exciting to watch. The reason we love this show is because we have too much to talk about every day, and we get into things that we don't know, you're probably, I think the answer Stu said earlier, it's going to be autonomous. You're not going to be buying cars anyway. You're going to be ride sharing, and the car, as we know it today, won't exist. And you'll just walk out of your house or your apartment, and you'll hit the app. The car will pull up. You'll take it to wherever you want to go, and when you come out of where you were, it'll take you back home again. There won't be any cars that we now drive ourselves. It's just not going to happen. And a lot of people out there say, "Oh no, I'll never have that. I'll never have an autonomous car drive me around." But you will. I mean, maybe you won't, but your grandchildren will. I promise you. Okay, we've got the dog of the week coming up. Everybody's scooting around here. If we have another minute or two.
We don't have another minute because
we have the
there is dog.
Here's our
Hi,
dog.
Bernadette.
It is
Welcome.
Stevie Ticks. Look at that. Stevie Ticks says Stevie. Well, I have to keep the.
Stevie, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's positive. Yeah.
Well, I had some jokes.
Yeah.
No.
Don't make jokes.
No jokes.
I'm making jokes. Hey, how are you doing?
I call her Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
Stevie
Exactly.
Nicks.
That's
Stevie
who I was
has entered
talking
the
about this
studio.
morning.
For you people that are not streaming, and even if you are streaming, I don't know that we have the camera on you yet.
I'm going to do
So
my best.
Bear with us on the confusion.
You always do really well,
Well, yeah,
Stu.
let me describe what's happening here. So we're in a radio studio for the people out there who are not streaming us on YouTube, and there is a beautiful female dog that just walked into the room named Stevie, and it used to be Stevie Ticks, but now it's just Stevie. You know, I think it was a good choice to change the name. I think. Do you guys still have Frankie Fleas? No, I'm kidding.
He hopped off.
All right, well, we're going to get you a, let me grab, was I going to do the whole camera thing here?
Okay.
Okay,
right.
bear with us, folks. You people on radio and otherwise. We're streaming Stevie, a dog from Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and Stu has got the microphone, and Stu has got the camera.
We're trying to figure this out. What we're going to do is you're going to get close to a microphone there. You're going to tell us all about Stevie and all the vital statistics.
Which microphone?
We studied earlier.
Well, that one right there.
Yeah,
is
we
fine.
studied earlier all about Stevie, so we know. But we're gonna quiz our Big Dog Ranch Rescue volunteer because this is our sponsored dog of the week, and we used to do this at the dealership, and we're trying to do a Facebook Live video, but we're doing it on the radio show because, why didn't we think of this a long time ago? So we got some logistical things to work out, like how am I going to speak into a microphone? And if
Is
does
Stevie
anybody here
okay?
knows the dog Heimlich? So, for our listeners, we do a sponsored dog of the week. As you know, that we are big supporters of Big Dog Ranch Rescue and Earl's book, Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. All the sales of that all of it go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue. And we also do a sponsored dog of the week. So every week we got a pooch from Big Dog Ranch Rescue that needs a home, and we do a little video and we tell everybody about it. Look at that! For the people on the radio, this dog is dancing around, standing up, loving the treats. Okay, so go ahead and tell us all about Stevie. And any microphone, just go right up to that. Yeah.
I'm Bernadette, and I'm here with Stevie. I just love this little girl. She is 5 years old. She was found wandering in Palm Beach. She's been at the ranch for a while now, and I don't understand why. I guess maybe because she doesn't get along that well with other dogs. But she is a real people person, aren't you? Yes, you are. Yes. And she just loves people. Loves people. She will sit and
What's she doing?
just
We got something for you.
love you and just go for long walks with you. She loves to jump. She's a very high jumper. You would need a big fence if you're going to take Stevie in.
Okay, big fence. You
Yeah.
gotta have a big fence if you want Stevie.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But she is just a sweetheart. I
She
would love
is.
to see her get a good home.
She is a sweetheart, and she
Yeah.
looks like a very like a fence jumper. She looks like an athletic dog.
She is, yeah.
She's very good muscle tone, very well groomed.
She is. She's,
I got groomed yesterday. I got a haircut.
Yeah.
Big difference though, you
Come
know.
here, Stevie. Good girl.
I hate getting a haircut.
And she gives kisses and hugs and just.
Yes, and
she's-
she wants to be the star of the show.
Oh yes.
No
Oh
cats,
yes.
no dogs,
No
no
cats.
Yeah.
children.
That's right.
And
She
this,
does-
taking a look at her, she is just she's got a beautiful red coat. She has got. I was joking around about the grooming because she's a short-haired dog, and she does not need to be shaved or groomed. Probably just a sponge bath once in a while. You wouldn't even have to dry her. This is a dog. I got a dog with really long hair, and it's a big mess. This dog could probably jump in the pool, come out, and you just air dry in a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your dog may be a big mess, but
Huh?
beautiful.
Yeah, you got to groom. If you have a long-haired dog, it's a
You want some
the
treats?
grooming.
They got them over there. I don't have any treats over here.
It's so for folks who can't see this, we have a very curious dog who is smiling, knows that Nancy's got all the treats over here, and yeah. So please, if you're just listening and you're at home, go to youtube.com, just search Earl on Cars, or just go to youtube.com/Earl on Cars, and and you can get a live stream of Stevie here. And I had a whole bunch of jokes ready for bad names for dogs, like Tony Trash Can and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were talking about naming a dog
It's
is
very important.
just like naming a car. And Stevie is a really good name. I think it's cute and very appropriate
Yeah.
for this beautiful dog.
Kennel Cough Kevin was another one. I decided not to use that one.
Now Bernadette was talking
Yeah.
about Stevie Nicks, and us ladies know about
Yeah,
Stevie Nicks.
Stevie's a great name. Yeah. There's rock star names are good for dogs. Meatloaf is a good name for a dog.
Oh.
Sting's a good name for a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know, Snoop Dogg's a good name for a dog.
Snoop Dogg. Now you're talking.
All right, well, back to business. So what's a sponsored dog? It just means that when you adopt a dog from anywhere, including Big Dog Ranch Rescue, there's always fees involved. When you adopt a dog, this dog comes ready. Spayed, neutered, shots, heartworm, everything ready to go. And there's a cost to that. And but with the sponsored dogs, Earl pays the cost. So if you adopt Stevie, through us, just let us know, or let Big Dog Ranch Rescue know. You can go to their website, bdrr.org, or you can contact us directly, and we'll take care of all the adoption fees for amazing. It's a few $100s, so it's a significant help. And if you're listening to this and you trust me that it is a beautiful dog, and you trust that, wait, how old is Stevie?
She's 5.
She's 5. This is a dog. This is a prime of her life dog.
Oh, yeah.
This is a great dog. So trust me. Tell somebody to call in, or to go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue website, bdrr.org, or call into the show. Make contact with us, and we're going to pay the adoption fees. All right. Well, thanks so much for bringing her in.
Oh, thank you
and
for having
I
us.
can't wait till next week's dog.
Yeah.
We're going to do this every week. So. If you call us and we say Stevie's been placed, don't worry. We'll put you in touch with the ranch. We're friends with everybody over there, and we can help just with special situations, whatever. Just let us know, and we'll find another dog. And if you don't want a dog, like I said, let somebody else who could use a companion like this.
Tell them about fostering a dog. If you can't own a dog now, if you could just foster the dog.
Right. Yeah, Big Dog Ranch Rescue relies on a lot of volunteers, and they are at capacity. They're constantly expanding, but it's great for the dogs. We have a friend who sponsors, over the years, probably hundreds of dogs, and I went over to that's when I adopted my dog from Big Dog Ranch Rescue, Oreo. We adopted it through Zara, and she was a foster. And we went to her house, and she had all these dogs all over the place. She was loving life with all the dogs, and it was kind of sad for her to part with Oreo because you get attached to him. But it's a great way to help the ranch and the dogs and have some fun.
Yeah, make space, because
have some work
have
too.
So many dogs out there. Sometimes there's not room, so we need to foster them to make space available. Yeah.
And you got to be a dog home, and having one dog is a lot of work, and it's a lot of rewarding, fun work. But just don't. You can't just do it for the summer for a kick. If you're serious about wanting to help, definitely consider volunteering to foster a dog, because I would do it.
Yeah.
Once my kids are really gone, maybe I'll get some more dogs. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right. Okay, so let me. The book is Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, and I've never done this before. I'm never hawking the book, but where's the camera? Boom. There's the camera.
Yeah, all
See?
proceeds.
All proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and Earl's writing another book. Actually, he's already written it. It's just in the final stages. It's coming out.
Almost through.
That's almost through. Next week. All right. All right. Thanks so much, and that does it for this week's edition of Sponsored Dog of the Week. Back to the recovering car dealer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for doing this, guys. Really appreciate
This will be a regular feature from now on, and if you know anybody out there who maybe they don't care about cars, but they care about dogs, just tell them to turn on Earl on Cars around 9:30, and we'll have a fresh dog from Big Dog Ranch Rescue. And spread the word. There's an amazing number of homeless dogs out there. We take in dogs at Big Dog Ranch from all over the world, literally. And the founder of Big Dog Ranch, Lori Simmons, literally flies airplanes. I don't mean she flies it herself, but she goes on an airplane to China. Now that's way away, and they got too many dogs over there. They're eating the dogs over there, so we're bringing dogs back from China, from other countries.
Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands.
Yeah, and wherever there's a disaster, the floods, that's typically even Florida with the hurricanes. So Big Dog Ranch might be in Loxahatchee, Florida, which is Palm Beach County, and there's another location in Alabama, I believe. And but even with those two locations, we're bursting at the seams. I think we can carry like 500 dogs in the Loxahatchee location, but we bring them in anyway. That's the reason we need to foster them. Okay, that's the end of the dog conversation.
Well, I'll tell you that was a good-looking dog, though. Wasn't Stevie something else? She was like, I don't know. Mark texted and wanted to know what breed she was. I'm not sure if we heard what breed. What was she? Yeah, boxer mix. And she kind of looks like, they got a lot of dogs out there that look like Stevie out there. Just kind of like your general brown dog.
Yeah, and she's just the right size. She's just like a medium.
Yeah.
She's just not too heavy. She's not too large.
Yeah, I mean, and she also said, remember in the very beginning that it says she didn't get along with other dogs, so it's probably just if you're one dog home. I would imagine that might apply to cats.
Yeah.
But
Yes, I would avoid any other pets.
Yeah, hamsters.
At all.
Hamsters are like snacks to dogs.
Yeah, if I were going to adopt a dog, I mean, I know we're affiliated with them, and I would say this anyway, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of these shelters, the idea is to move the dogs out, kind of like car dealers that don't care. They don't care who adopts the dog, get them out, and Big Dog Ranch doesn't do that. They investigate you like you're a parent adopting a child. And I hate to say this, but if you aren't considered a good dog owner by Big Dog Ranch, they won't let you have the dog. So when they find a home, they just don't find a home, they find a good home, and that's the reason they're so popular. So if you're shopping around, I would not be going to some other shelter that you don't know, the source of the dog. You don't know the dog was checked over, They actually have a quarantine level, place for dogs. They come in fresh to be sure they don't have any diseases. They're wormed. They're vaccinated. They're completely healthy, neutered and spayed before they're adopted. So it's a good bet for you. And Big Dog Ranch, you just go to earlsbook.com and it'll take you to.
Well, it was about 10 years ago, this July 4, that I was looking around. I went to a bunch of the shelters here in West Palm, and I went out to Big Dog.
Yeah.
And they matched me up with my little girl, Harley Quinn. And I say little, she's a 65-pound black and tan hound, and she is awesome.
What a beautiful name, Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, that's her name.
Yeah, and it is magical when you do go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and you talk about, details and matching, that personality. There's a lot to be said about that with a real person's personality. And it's, makes a big difference when you get the dog home because you keep the dog.
And their facility there is beautiful, and the photos that you have online for their other location in Shorter, Alabama, they're over 100 acres plus there, and it is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, you have a chance to go out there. You can really take in, every bit of love that they share with all of us out there.
If you want a little dog, we have little dogs too. If that was the original name, I don't think we're talking about naming cars. That was not a good name. I say that respectfully to all the folks out there, but they have a motto now: big and dog, we love them all. Big and small, we love them all. Yeah. So, but they're big dogs, small dogs, medium dogs. You name any kind of dog, we got them.
Didn't they? Yeah. They started off with Weimaraner's, right? It was like mainly a Weimaraner rescue.
Yeah, that was Lori's favorite breed.
Yeah. Beautiful dog.
Weimaraner's, yeah.
And with Stevie being a stray, you can understand the personality that she's acquired, and she's a free spirit. She's able to do whatever she wants to do, and she is in charge. And that's mainly the reason that she wants to go into a home with no dogs, no kids, just her, as far as her being the star of the show and being the only one. So go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue.
She's a diva.
Yes. Go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and you can take a look at all the dogs they have on that website. It's just amazing all the way around. And like Stu mentioned earlier, Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, the total, all the proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. We have got to get to our mystery shop, and Agent Lightning did a great job, and Stu, of course, certainly wrote up a wonderful, informative mystery shop. And that mystery shop is from Subaru from South Tampa.
Okay. We talk about Subaru a lot of this show, very complimentary as one of the best manufacturers. Their problem is they can't build cars fast enough, but the cars they build are very high quality. Consumer Reports give Subaru outstanding ratings on most of their models. So I'll be reading this mystery shopping report that Stu put together from the notes from Agent Lightning, speaking as if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived mid-morning and was greeted by a salesman who happened to be sitting on a bench on his phone when I approached. He smiled, asked if anyone was expecting me that day. I said no. I'd been interested in seeing the new Outbacks, Subaru Outback, and was wondering if they had any in their inventory. He responded affirmatively, asked if I'd like to take a look. We walked over to where they were in a lot, and I was particularly taken by the color of a new 2024 Subaru Outback Touring XT. It was a deep, rich burgundy. The MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price, was $44,090. I didn't see an addendum. That didn't say there wasn't one, but sometimes they're not affixed. He asked if I'd like to go for a test drive. I agreed and excused himself to grab the keys. As he was walking away, I realized I hadn't got his name. He turned and replied, Gabe, G-A-B-E, Gabe, before continuing on his way. He returned a few minutes later, and I sat on the driver's seat with him in the passenger seat. He proceeded to detail the features of the Subaru, showing extensive knowledge about the Outback. He gave me more information than I needed, from how the engine functions to maximize gas mileage to the camera system, reminiscent of Tesla's. Gabe continued to educate me on the car as we drove around the neighborhood and then back to the main road. Subaru, as I said earlier, it's a good car. I mean, it's right up there, one of the best cars made. And so Subaru dealers typically use that because a lot of people aren't familiar with Subaru because there's not that many on the road. But they have got a great product. So rightfully, this salesman was very well trained in presenting the product. Once back at the dealership, he asked me how soon I was thinking about buying. I said that if everything went well, I'd love to pick it up later that day. He seemed enthusiastic, saying, "Great, let's make it happen." We went inside and he collected my information before excusing himself to talk to his sales manager. I asked about the packages on the car and explained that unlike other dealerships that perform a market adjustment, they actually offer something beneficial to their customers as they drive to avoid financial hardships. Now, addendums, what he said is accurate. There's two kinds of addendum, and he talked about the fact that they just don't throw in an increase in price without giving you something for it. And that's the other kind of addendum where they give you something for it. But unfortunately, the bad news is typically what they give you for it is worth very little compared to what they're charging you for it. So I guess if I had to choose between the addendum for nothing or the addendum for almost nothing, I would probably take the one for almost nothing. But addendums by nature are devious, misleading, and not right. Gabe said he would discuss with the sales manager the possibility of having it removed if that was the only thing stopping me from buying that day. He truly wanted to earn my business. Gabe then offered me some water before excusing himself again to speak with the sales manager. He returned a little later with a sales worksheet. He started going over to the different elements of the price sheet. Jokingly, I told Gabe, I'm not young like you. Can I borrow your pen to write this down? I'll never remember all of this. Kind of remove some of the suspicion that she might be a mystery shopper. Very clever. Mm-hmm. He began, the selling price was the MSRP, $44,060. Why they call this first price the selling price. The selling price should be the last price, but unfortunately, right. They put it at the top of the page, and then they just keep on adding on to the selling price. And if they add on the selling price, it's not really the selling price. So they added $960.49 in government fees. And as Stu noted on the report, there's no car buyer in Florida that has to pay $960 in government fees. I mean, government fees are sales tax and license plate. You can't come up with that amount. So in there's some Mickey Mouse junk fees, like electronic filing is one of the favorite. Just about every dealer I know has something called electronic filing fee, which is just garbage. It's BS. And then there's also another one that relates to what might be a license plate, and that's the tag agency fee, and that's just a junk fee. So they also added a $999 dock fee, more nonsense, junk. $99 for Starlink. Is that the...
I think, yeah, well, GM has Starlink or OnStar, so maybe Starlink is their version of that.
Go.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like that, but it's being added on.
Probably a GPS device.
What is it? Rick knows?
I tried to Google it, and the only Starlink that comes up is Elon Musk's space internet.
Maybe get hooked up to the Starlink internet.
Maybe.
That could be
some cars do have internet access now in them.
We'll check that out. Huh. Then there was $2,495 for Mag Buyer's Advantage. What's the MAG?
I don't know.
Mag Buyer.
I was trying to make sense of the dealership's name. It didn't.
It makes no sense. Mag Buyer's Advantage. I mean, it would be like Subaru South Tampa Advantage, but Mag, I don't know. And then, of course, there's $784.75 in accessories before adding the sales tax. And when you add up the grand total here, guess what? Your out-the-door price is now $52,799. $650, $615, and the MSRP was $44,000. So there's a quantum leap, if I ever saw a quantum leap.
That was
I took notes.
A lot of surprises there.
Yeah. It just disappointing. The salesperson was extremely knowledgeable on the product, and as I was reading that, I said, here the man the salesman has got himself one of the best cars on the market to sell, and if he resorts to misleading, devious bait and switch, junk fees, and the rest of it, what a shame. I mean, you got a good car. Sell it for a fair price.
You got a good brand. I mean, a great reputation.
Yeah.
Don't sully that brand.
Anyway, as the shopper back, I'm now Agent Lightning again. I took notes, wrote down everything. He then asked if I had any questions. I asked if there was any way he could lower the price. He asked what price point would make this happen right now. I don't know what that means, price point, but what's your price that if I give it to you, you'll buy it right now? That's all standard, back and forth, old school game that all the car dealers virtually play. I stated that I prefer to skip the extras and purchase the car below MSRP. He explained that Subarus don't really have much room for negotiation, but if it's only a matter of a few $100s, he could probably make it happen. And I'll say this again about Subaru. By definition, there's not many Subarus. They can't build them fast enough because it's such a good product. So even before the COVID issue and the microchip issue and all the rest of the issues with the economy, Subaru has always been a low supply, high demand car. So you're not going to be able to get a big discount below MSRP on a Subaru in the best of times, and these are the worst of times. So just a thought if you're thinking about buying a Subaru. He could probably make it happen. I informed him that I had an appointment to get to, but would be in touch. He requested that I wait a moment so his manager could greet me. I waited a few minutes and started walking towards the door. That always gets them out of their chair when you walk towards the door. At that point, the manager came over, thanked me for, oh no, I wasn't the manager, it was just Gabe again. I guess the manager didn't want to bother. So Gabe came over, thanked me for coming in, and said he'd be in touch. And there we have it. I mean, you heard the shopping report on a great car like a Subaru, and what can I say?
I know what Starlink is.
Oh, what?
Starlink is a security feature offered by Subaru.
Oh.
It's optional, so they were preloading it. So even though it's a legitimate product, the way it was sold was not the right way to sell something.
But it's not related to the Starlink satellites that Elon Musk.
No, it says, it came out before Starlink. It's automatic collision notification, enhanced roadside assistance, so it is like the OnStar or the Toyota SOS system, where you just push a button, or if you get in an accident, emergency services are notified.
Okay. Well, we want you to vote, and you can vote on YouTube, and Stu sees them. Rick sees them. You can text or vote in, and we would like to see if you would give them an A, B, C, D, or F. Remember, we grade on the curve, so we have very few A's. We have mostly
very,
C's,
very few.
and F's are short, just like A's are short. But we still, if they pass, if they get above an F, they go on the recommended list, but at the bottom, unless they are have an A or a B, which if you do, they be at the top of the list.
Yeah. So I have some text with some grades. Mark text says, good salesman with knowledge, bad add-ons. Dealer grade is the D. Don't blame the salesman. And I 100% agree with Mark. It's the culture of the dealership, it's the management, and that's a weird Subaru dealership. It doesn't seem like the usual ones.
Yeah,
they seem a little more enlightened.
Yeah, I agree.
And but then again, this is Tampa. We haven't really shopped the Tampa market, and that's a big metro area with some a lot of competition.
Over there, I think.
Yeah, maybe we should focus on the West Coast a little bit more because we might discover some real gems over there.
Yeah, I think things are done a little differently over there.
Yeah.
First, I've heard it a lot from several people who live over there.
All right, we have from Bob, we have a G for fake dishonest government fees for a Subaru of South Tampa, and I think Bob's sliding further right on the scale past F to G, so that's even worse. I'm not going to fail him, but this feels similar to last week. It was all in the manner of how it's done. If they want to sell the car for, I didn't even add it up, for a couple of thousand over MSRP.
Yeah, be honest.
Say
listen,
this is the best car.
It's a great car. Sell the product. He did a great job selling the product, and he could show them Consumer Reports. Everybody knows that not everybody, but the people that do the research know the Subaru is a great product, and they also probably know that it's a limited production car. So if you're going to pay over MSRP for any car, it would probably be a Subaru anyway. So just come up with a number and say, this is my number.
Yeah.
And don't play with it.
And the phone stops ringing, your number's too high.
Junk fees, overpriced dealer sold accessories. Don't do that. Just be honest. Ask for the price and give the price, and then go to another Subaru dealer. Give the shopper the opportunity to shop and compare your price. That's all.
Yeah. C- from me.
Okay.
Okay. Tom Steckel says, D-, Advantage plan and fake fees. Subaru spelled backward is you are a bus. And I'd take the bus before buying there.
That's brilliant.
Johnny Z. Fradley, too many fees for me's, I give them D's. Way to go, Johnny. Rocky Blockatiel, D is for devious, old school tactics. James Fronte says, we bought 2 new 23 Ascent touring SUVs 3 months ago from Subaru of Jacksonville, Florida. Here, the dock and tag fees are way too high, and I paid $0 for Concierge Starlink and got 2 years maintenance free with no add-ons. D for Tampa. Brian Sidletko, disappointed in all the extra fees. D. Tim Gilliland, I can afford the car, but not the addendums. C-. And James comes back to say, my 2 Ascents had MSRPs of $51,000. I paid $45,775 plus a $653 dealer dock fee
in 2017.
Plus my 6% sales tax. Actually, no, 23.
Okay.
Plus a 6% sales tax and $140 to transfer each of my current Florida tags.
Where was this?
This is Subaru of Jacksonville.
Okay.
Is a great Subaru dealer, he says.
And folks, listen, if you want a Subaru, call Subaru Jacksonville, even if you're in
California.
Yeah, no, well, in Florida
or Georgia,
or if you're within 100 miles or so. I mean, think of how far do you have to drive to negate a $3,000 or $4,000 advantage? So that's Subaru of Jacksonville. Let's be sure that we can't put them on the approval list, can we?
It's not officially certified.
Not on hearsay. We'll have to shop Subaru of Jacksonville.
Maybe
we'll
we
put
can
them down
create a listener recommended.
Recommended by listeners.
Listener
Thanks, James.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mark Anderson, D-. Steve W. says MAG could be Morgan Auto Group for something to do with that MAG thing.
You know what? That's pretty smart. Pretty smart, and that's where Morgan's headquartered over there in Tampa.
Larry Morgan, I'm friends with the guy, and I knew him when he first came into the business. I was on the board of directors with him. Great guy. He got too big. He's like number 15 auto group in Florida. He's one of the biggest. So you get too big, you lose control. I actually called him one time when they bought, Arrigo. He bought the Arrigo chain out, and I called him because Arrigo was ripping people off, and he actually called the store and changed some things around. Yeah. But you're so big, you can't keep your finger on everything now. So I bet it is Larry Morgan.
And for me, I'm going to say C- on grade. I think you could probably do a little better. And I would go with James Fronte's advice. Take a cruise over to Jacksonville.
That's right. Lovely city.
Yeah. They got a great zoo, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, folks, I'm extremely disappointed. Gosh, I love the brand. I truly do. And the commercials, they just touch your heart. And it's really a shame that South Tampa has to do what they're doing. And, there was a lot of tap dancing going on. And I just, I don't like that tap dance. I don't like that dance. So, For them, I give them an E.
Nancy.
Or maybe a G.
Nancy, no Dancy.
Nancy, no Dancy.
All right.
I'm waffling between a D plus and C minus. I'll give them a D plus.
I think they're the same.
Yeah.
They are the same.
What was your grade?
C minus.
Yeah, C minus.
Oh.
Official.
You said an A minus.
Officially C minus.
Yeah. Okay, folks. We all would like to wish you a happy Father's Day, and we want to thank all of you for joining us this morning.
And I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to my father.
Oh.
Happy Father's Day.
Aw.
And also to say
Thank you, my
how
son.
lucky I am as a son. I mean, I'm 55 years old, and I still get to spend 2 hours every Saturday with my dad and hang out.
Oh,
Touching.
Not very many guys my age can say that.
Boy, you talk
Happy
about
Father's Day.
being lucky.
All right,
The
I
two
hear the
of
theme
you
song.
definitely are. And so is, Josh and Jason. But at any rate, thank you all for joining us. You're a huge part of this show, and you make the show every single week. And don't forget that you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org, and you can take a look of our featured dog of the week and see how much fun we all had in the studio. Don't forget Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. The proceeds, all the proceeds, go to Big Dog Ranch. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.